Well, so don't I have egg on my face? Anyways, this is what okay, so I expected the stock to drop, but just not that much. Okay, so the earnings, let's be honest, they were not that great. So the reason why they kind of missed their revenue or their own targets was because, so Spire Global, so this is going to be about Spire Global, the earnings, so they dropped like 25% after market, and I'm just like, bruh. They cited the reason being because of solar flares. I listened through the entire earnings call. They said that the main reason for their delayed revenue was because of the solar flares. Because of the solar flares impacting the data that they can observe, right? Then they have crappy data, right? And then basically companies don't want to pay for that crappy data. The contracts are still active with those companies. It's just that the revenue that they get from those contracts will be delayed. Now, few things. Did it warrant a 25% drop? I would say just kind of their way of handling it did, right? I would have really appreciated if I'm sure they had like some insight as to the solar flares impacting their revenue growth, and that if they did like if they announced like lowered earnings before the earnings call, like maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance. I think the main thing is if they were more transparent with the fact that these solar flares would cause such a dramatic impact on their revenue, that'd be really nice. Yeah, I understand that the solar flares themselves aren't that predictable, but like at a certain point in the quarter, management should have in my opinion, management should have like basically told investors, we expect to miss our projected revenues and we need to readjust our guidance, right? I think that would have been really good to do. It's better than like kind of being rug pulled, right? I'm still really bullish on the company. Even as they say that they're still attracting a lot of customers. They still have a lot of like it's not like the contracts are canceled. They're still ongoing. It's just that the profit that they get from those contracts will be delayed, right? So I'm still really bullish on the company. It's just the fact that they didn't tell us that made me kind of annoyed, right? Like if they told us earlier, we know what to prepare for, right? Then at least like it would make more sense, right? The weird thing is that they're still projecting positive free cash flow, even though the revenue amount of like 180 or 190 million dollars was delayed. They're still saying that they're going to achieve positive free cash flow by summer. I think like that's like the main bullish thing, just that even with this handicap, they're still able to forecast positive free cash flow. I'd be really disappointed if like they missed that too without telling us. But I mean, right now we just have to take management's word for it. As I said before, it's really hard to see the contract amount, so it's hard to actually calculate anything. But yeah, so it dropped down to, I think the lowest was like 834 or something. I did buy a few shares at around that area, just buying the dip. Hopefully not buying a falling knife, but like yeah, just buying the dip. I don't see it going too much further. I mean, anything's possible, right? But I did account for this, right? In my previous video, I did say that it is possible that even if they do have a good earnings, it's possible that people might want to short the stock in order to get a lower cost basis. So I guess it's a good thing I kind of hedged for that and kind of like but yeah, other than the revenue, which like, okay, so the revenue is like the big elephant in the room, and like that's really disappointing, but like everything else I think was fine. Everything's still growing, right? Other than the delayed revenue, everything's still growing. Like they will get their money eventually. It's just, and I'm sure that the fact that no one canceled their contracts means that like this is something that's expected in this industry, so like I'll give them that, right? But again, it's just the kind of the transparency, right? That's also one of the main reasons why I invested so much in Spire Global. I hope that they keep their transparency and kind of like notify shareholders before this happens in the future, right? So yeah, those are my main thoughts. I'm just gonna be buying a little bit more. I'm just gonna say goodbye to my short-term calls, but like this is just an opportunity for me to DCA even lower, or yeah, to buy more stocks down here, while basically at like almost a 50% markdown from what the people that bought it at $14 paid for, right? So I'm just gonna use this as an opportunity and buy more. am really bullish on the industry, on the company, on their business model. It's yeah. So like yeah, I guess this is just an opportunity for me to buy more. If I get more powder, I basically use all my powder on buying SoFi and oh, SoFi's not freaking SoFi. But yeah, I just do wish. So I guess too long didn't read, too long didn't watch. I just wish that they were a little bit more transparent. But other than that, the company's still doing fine, right? Everything seems to have a proper reason. Like this drop in revenue was caused by something that was unforeseen, these solar flares. And I didn't even get to see the aurora, right? Around me, they keeps telling me that every night there's supposed to be an aurora, and I can never see it because it's cloudy. So it's like, whatever. So yeah, kind of bummed. I was expecting better revenues, right? Even they were expecting better revenues, but like, again, if they were more transparent, that would have been a lot better. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm still bullish on the company. Still think that they have plans for great things. It'll just take a quarter longer. So yeah, that's it. Have a good one. Bye. I did want to mention one thing. Even though it dropped 250, right? If you look at the volume is actually really low. So I'm looking at the volume right now. It dropped $2.50 on some 7,000 shares. It dropped 25% on some 7,000 shares, right? So like, there's honestly, in my opinion, there's probably not actually that much appetite to drop it any lower. I don't see any investors or any companies doing like a mass exodus out of this company. And I'm still bullish, and I'm sure that a lot of people that are investors, they're still bullish. They understand what's happening. They understand the environment and the current events that are affecting what Spire is. And also, the cool thing is that the other thing is also that the other current events are actually like propelling Spire to do more, right? We keep talking about war. We talk about weather patterns, right? We talk about hurricane season. All these things are really like, they sound like they'd be bearish news, but they're actually bullish for Spire Global because then more people request their data. More people want specific data to help them train models and help them just do everything, right? So those are my thoughts. Still just holding, accumulating more. If it stays on here, I don't have much more dry powder, but then with the change I find in my couch, I'll just try to buy more, accumulate. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Have a good one.